Jacob, so the alliances are now well and truly settling down. You have the India alliance of 26 parties on the one side and the new and improved N.D.A alliance with 38 parties. 2024 is going to be a battle of alliances. Make no mistake. But alliances are not always about arithmetic. They're also about chemistry. It's about how they gel on the ground, whether the votes of one party will transfer to another party. And today, on day 2 after the India alliance was formed, the daggers are already out. CPIM leader Brinda Karat has called Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee a dictator. There were reports of Nitish Kumar being upset. He didn't attend the joint press conference attended yesterday by leaders of multiple opposition parties. But today he was forced to clarify, saying that he's not upset. Now, the question that is foremost on ground is this. Will this alliance work on the ground? Will the votes of one party transfer to another? What about inherent contradictions, whether it is in Bengal or in Kerala, or even for that matter in Delhi and Punjab? How will this new India alliance manage to overcome these contradictions?
टीएमसी के खिलाफ और टीएमसी की तानाशाही रुख जो बंगाल में दिखाई दिया है पूरे पंचायत के चुनाव में, जिसके आधार पर 7 लोगों की मृत्यु हुई, वो बंगाल की हकीकत है।
আমাদের নেত্রী আমাদের সিএম একজন বাঙালি যে হয়নি কখনো, তো আমরা তো চাইবো সেটা।
According to our sources from Congress, people who were inside the meeting, they have confirmed that Nitish Kumar was not happy with the deliberations in the meeting. He wanted that his name should be finalized as a convener.
राजगीर की हो रही थी ना, हमको मन था कि हम राजगीर देर हो रहा हमको, तो इसीलिए हम आ गए हैं और कोई बात नहीं है। इसलिए पूरे तौर पर हम लोग साथ हैं।
वो कौन सा ग्लू है, गोंद है जो इन लोगों को, इन पार्टियों को जोड़ रहा है? इनकी नुरा कुश्ती हो या मजबूरी की दोस्ती, इसकी हकीकत 140 करोड़ देशवासियों के सामने आ चुकी है।
So how is this alliance, this new alliance, India, going to work on the ground? Will there be chemistry between these allies? There may be the arithmetic, but will the chemistry work? This is the picture of the 2019 Lok Sabha election result. The N.D.A had 334, the India alliance had only 144. The vote share difference between both the alliances was about 6% or so, in fact less than 6%. Even though the vote share was just 6% difference, the seat share difference is almost 200 seats, 190 seat difference between the India alliance and the N.D.A alliance. And we'll tell you why and how that has happened. And that is being captured in the breakup. Out of the 334, the BJP had 303. So remember, the overall N.D.A vote share was 43. Out of that 43%, 37% is coming just from the BJP, which means all the other parties put together is accounting for only 6% of the N.D.A's vote share. If you look at the opposite alliance, the India alliance as they call themselves, in that alliance, it is a different story altogether, because if you go back, if you just go back to the India alliance, the main page, this is how the India alliance breaks down. There it's the opposite story, because the Congress is contributing only 20% out of this 37% vote share that the alliance had. The remaining 17%, which is almost as much as what the Congress's vote share is coming from the other parties, and primarily dominated by DMK, which has 2.3%. The TMC has a 4% vote share. And of course, the JDU, which in 2019 fought with the BJP, but is now with the India alliance, they have almost a 1.5% vote share. So which means that this alliance is far more dependent on the smaller parties as much as it is dependent on the Congress. Whereas on the other side, more than 90, almost 95% of the vote share is coming from one party, the BJP. I want to break this down also in terms of the footprint and why it is not going to be easy to defeat the BJP or the NDA alliance, because there were 224 seats out of the 303 that the BJP won. 224 were seats where the BJP candidate, the winning candidate, had more than 50% vote share, which means more than 1 out of every 2 votes that have been polled. Which means if in all of these states, in Gujarat, for example, all 26 seats, in Maharashtra, 15 seats, in Uttar Pradesh, 40 out of 80 seats, half the state was won by BJP candidates, even if the alliance on the other side polled votes together. Arithmetically, they wouldn't be able to beat the BJP candidate because the BJP candidate has got more than 50% votes in these seats. Now, let me just break that down for the rest of the alliances, as it were. Here we go. If you take the NDA as a whole, it had 241 candidates who got more than 50% vote share. So whereas the India alliance had only 68. So look at the ground that the India alliance has to cover to catch up with the NDA. Similarly, if you were to look at the 35 to 40% vote share, they say in a first past the post system, the 30 to 35% mark is the one that you need to breach in a multipolar contest to win. Here, the NDA had only 35 seats. So even at the best case scenario, if the India alliance were to give the NDA a tough sort of fight for a run for its money, they can only add another 35 seats, because that is where the vote share margin was between 35 and 40%. And then if you were to look at the close fights, let's take a look at the seats that were won with a less than 2% margin. Again, just 10 seats out of 330 that the NDA had, only 10 seats were close contests with less than 2% margin. The India alliance winning only 9. And similarly, less than 5% vote share was only 24 seats. So if you add those 34 seats, 10 seats that were less than 2% and 24 seats that were less than 5%, the ability or the window for the India alliance to grow beyond their current strength of 140 is only an extra addition of 35 seats. Because when the BJP won 224 seats on its own with more than 50% majority, then that means that they clearly have an edge and they win big. Out of 43% vote share for the NDA, 37% has come from one party, the BJP, which means when they win, when BJP candidates win, they win big. And that's why, even if there is an alliance on the ground of 26 parties, it is going to be a Herculean task for the India alliance to catch up with the NDA, even going by the math.
देख रही है कि ये पार्टियों क्यों इकट्ठा हो रही है। जनता ये भी जान रही है कि वो कौन सा ग्लू है, गोंद है, जो इन लोगों को, इन पार्टियों को जोड़ रहा है। किस तरह छोटे छोटे स्वार्थ के लिए मूल्यों और सिद्धांतों से समझौता किया जा रहा है। लोग देख रहे हैं कि केरल में लेफ्ट और कांग्रेस एक दूसरे के खून के प्यासे हैं, लेकिन बेंगलुरु में दोनों पार्टियों के नेता हाथ में हाथ डालकर मुस्कुरा रहे हैं। लोग देख रहे हैं कि बंगाल में लेफ्ट और कांग्रेस के नेताओं पर, उनके कार्यकर्ताओं पर टीएमसी हमले कर रही है, लेकिन इनके नेता टीएमसी के खिलाफ कुछ भी बोलने से बच रहे हैं। इसलिए देश के लोग कह रहे हैं कि गलबहियां मिशन नहीं है, मजबूरियां है। इनकी सच्चाई आपको दूसरे राज्यों में भी दिखाई देगी। नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस के नेता और पीडीपी के नेता एक दूसरे को कैसी कैसी गालियां देते हैं। आरजेडी और जेडीयू के लोग कैसे कैसे शब्दों से एक दूसरे को नवाजते थे। देश की जनता ने यह सब करीब से देखा है और देख रही है। इसलिए इनकी नुरा कुश्ती हो या मजबूरी की दोस्ती, इसकी हकीकत 140 करोड़ देशवासियों के सामने आ चुकी है।
All right, let's open this up to our panelists who are joining us. The contradictions already coming out into the fore right after the India alliance was formed in Bengaluru yesterday. Syed Zafar Islam is national spokesperson of the BJP. Salman Soz is national spokesperson of the Congress Party. Bishwajit Deb is spokesperson of the TMC. Smita Prakash, editor of ANI. And Pratik Som is spokesperson of the JJP. Salman Soz, let me start with you first. I'll get to the numbers in the latter half. But first things first. The news points. Today, Brinda Karat of the CPIM came out and called Mamata Banerjee a dictator. There are reports of Nitish Kumar being upset, and that's why he didn't wait for the press conference yesterday in Bengaluru. Please clarify for our viewers, how are you going to address these contradictions that have come out to the fore within 24 hours of the announcement of this alliance?
Zaka, thank you for your concern. And thank you for actually... in your opening package, basically repeating two instances of the Prime Minister speaking at length. And thank you for not including any opposition bite, except to talk about how Ms. Karat might have said something about Mamata Banerjee, or some MP from, TMC might want Mamata Banerjee to be the Prime Minister. So, I was hoping that you'd be a little more even-handed than your program has been today. So let me say that I say this with some degree of disappointment. As far as differences of opinion sometimes between members of the opposition alliance. Look, this is a new alliance. This is a new alliance, and we're just starting out. I think what has happened is that because of these 26 parties coming together, because we have this, Bharat Judega, India Jeetega kind of tagline now, I think BJP is rattled. All of the BJP supporters are rattled. All of the BJP supporters in media are rattled. Now, there will be all these questions.
Salman, okay, fine. I take the first part of what you said. Fair enough. I'm the first one to accept criticism. That's fair enough. I'm not going into that. But please, let's stick to the question I asked you.
Yes.
Brinda Karat is not a BJP leader. She's an ally of yours. She's attacked another ally of yours. Can you please explain how you're going to justify this to the people of India? That's a simple question.
Well, I mean, I could turn around and say, how can Prime Minister Modi justify the inclusion of a man in this new alliance when that man called him the biggest liar in the country? How does the Prime Minister justify inclusion of a person who says that the BJP basically did khilwad with the OBCs and Dalits of this country? How can the Prime Minister justify the inclusion of a young politician whose only claim to fame is that he's a dynast, when he attacks the opposition for dynasty politics? So, these questions of...
Okay, I'll ask these to Zafar Islam, but I'm giving you one more chance. Do you have any justification for what the CPM has said about the TMC? And please explain, how are you going to resolve these differences? How are you, for example, in Kerala, the state that Rahul Gandhi used to be an MP from? Are you not going to fight the left?
Look, as far as this election is concerned, the 2024 election is concerned, all political parties that you saw yesterday, the 26, yes, we have differences of opinion at state levels in different states. Yes, there is. But at the same time, we have come around together because we believe strongly that this country is headed in the wrong direction. The Prime Minister and his party are basically dismantling Indian democracy, Indian secularism. We've all come to defend that idea of India, and that is what is going to bind us together throughout the election process.
So, Zafar Islam, if you're accusing the opposition of being, a compilation of contradictions, you have contradictions as well. No less than the Prime Minister called the NCP corrupt. I mean, there's a famous video of Devendra Fadnavis talking about Ajit Pawar chakki piecing, and today Ajit Pawar is an ally of yours. He's a Deputy Chief Minister in one of the states that you're ruling in. I mean, so you are just as rife with contradictions as the opposition is. Zafar.
See, when the Honorable Prime Minister had made that statement, and when he mentioned about them in the speech, about NCP, and if they felt that at that point in time, Sharad Pawar, that these people are the corrupt people within, even though everyone knows who is the corrupt, but still if he felt, then he should have fired them, thrown out of them, these people out of their party. They didn't do that. As long as they are with him, they are clean. But when they join us or any alliance, they are out of their party or they are out of their clutches, then they become corrupt. So I can make the same argument, because had they been convicted or had they been fired from their own party, we wouldn't have touched them. No one we would have touched. But since they were there and they were clean, so they are here, they are clean, law will take its own course. That is something which I want to send the message through your channel. Secondly, we're talking about India. If I feel this is a stunt, it's a political gimmick which will backfire on them. Because we have, if you just do a back testing of the history, and you dig the history, you will find that there were such instances where we have found in the past, in 1977 or 79, where the entire Congress party was calling Indira is India, India is Indira. And what happened after the result, after the election? The result for everyone to see that Congress was defeated by Janata Dal completely. Complete landslide victory for them, and Congress was vanished.
Zafar, you're actually validating the opposition's point. I mean, they are comparing the 2024 election to what happened in 1977. There, on the one side, you had Indira Gandhi, and you had this.
Not at all.
You had this conglomerate of opposition parties. Here, it's the same thing is happening. You have one Mr. Modi on one side, and you have 26 opposition parties on the other. They are saying 1977 will repeat in 2024. You're validating their point.
Not at all. Let me make the statement, and what is the differentiating factor between now and then. There, she was claiming that our Congress was claiming India is Congress and Congress is India. They got a befitting reply from the people of this great country. Here, the Honorable Prime Minister says that I am sevak of this people of this great country. I have devoted my life for the people of this great country, and we are following philosophy, ideology, and the governance model. And what does our governance model suggest? Our governance model is based on two governance principles. One, that we have to make our country strong. So absolutely, country is first, nation is first, is our policy, a policy of our government. Second, we have to empower our people. The people of this great country should be empowered.
All right, we'll get to the issues.
We'll get to the issues. I'm sure there's enough time between now and 2024
every
welfare scheme, every policy measures, every policy reform has taken them into consideration.
The opening contradictions are already playing itself out. You know, you have one person of the CPIM calling your leader, Mamata Banerjee, a Tanashahi. There are other leaders in the CPM asking about, there's no democracy left in Bengal. There is only political violence, and nobody seems to be speaking about it. Also, please explain to our viewers, out of the 42 seats, how are you going to divide this up? I mean, Sitaram Yechuri says it's going to be a multi-cornered fight in Bengal. It's going to be left and Congress. It's going to be versus TMC, versus BJP. It's going to be multi-cornered. So in Bengal, it's going to be multi-cornered. In the rest of the country, it's going to be bipolar. How is that going to work?
Don't worry about that. But first of all, let us see yesterday how our Prime Minister addressed an official meeting. It was an inauguration of the airport. He spoke for 25 minutes, out of which 19 minutes he spent attacking the opposition parties, as if it was a BJP rally. A mass leader. He was completely rattled and he lost his plot. You could understand from his body language that he was just targeting the opposition. He was concerned about these 26 parties coming together, forming an alliance with the one agenda that this government needs to be replaced, due to the reason that this government has completely destroyed the democracy. Democracy has to be saved. The country needs to be saved. The constitution needs to be saved.
But sir, don't these things apply to Bengal as much as they apply to the whole country?
Please let me finish.
Yeah. Please answer the Bengal part also.
Please let me finish. Yeah. And the entire economy of the country, the unemployment in the country, it has gone up and up. And people are jobless. People don't have jobs. There is completely chaos in the country. And overall, each and every opposition government is being targeted and toppled.
Please also explain about saving democracy, saving constitution in Bengal. After what we saw in the panchayat election.
There is an endeavor to topple.
Sir,
otherwise,
please,
they will
Please answer the question I asked you. What about saving democracy and saving constitution in Bengal?
Yes, tell me.
Are you not concerned about that?
Don't worry, that will be settled in due course. We are not worried about that. Mamata Banerjee knows very well how to handle the situation in Bengal. Think about what is going to happen in 2024, because 2024 will be an election of change. People will see, people will decide that this government needs to go.
Okay.
26 political parties, opposition parties have come
let me ask Smita Prakash
and they have decided on a common agenda.
Okay,
it's
Mr.
a common
Dev,
agenda.
please yield. Smita Prakash, two points. One, the opposition is saying Mr. Modi, the BJP are rattled. On the very day that these 26 parties were meeting in Bengaluru, the N.D.A, which was almost in the cold freezer, has been brought back. There is now a new and improved N.D.A. There are 38 parties in that. Some say out of that 38, 24 of them don't have a Lok Sabha MP. But be that as it may, why is the N.D.A being revived? Is there a genuine sort of fear within the BJP and the N.D.A that this 26-party alliance, at least on paper, looks formidable? And also to the question about the contradictions in the latest entrance into this N.D.A, the Shinde Sena, the Ajit Pawar NCP, etc. So the opposition is saying the BJP is just the same as them, as in the charges that are being flung at them.
Well, Zaka, as you know, the NDA will leave nothing to chance, the BJP especially, because 10 years being in power, there is some kind of an anti-incumbency they will face in many places. So, and you've seen that manifesting in the two state elections which they've lost. So there is a sense that to come back to power after 10 years being in power, it is not an easy task. But that having been said, they are not leaving any stone unturned to see that they do come back to power. And how are they going to do that? That is get off any kind of a high pedestal. Some of them might have been thinking that there is no option to the NDA or to the BJP or to Mr. Modi. So I think the messaging has gone down from the top to right to the bottom, that don't take anything for granted. Don't be in an arrogant sense of arrogance creep into the party rank and file, and that is why I think that this extension of invitation to even the smallest unit of the NDA, and you saw the Prime Minister's speech also, in which he said that if there have been instances where I haven't been able to meet you, it's because I've been preoccupied with other stuff. There is a kind of a humility that was there in the speech, in which he was reaching across to his allies.
No, so the question the opposition asking is, Smita, why is that coming now? I mean, for 4 years, you didn't seem to need these smaller parties. Why is there this realization suddenly now?
Whenever an election comes, realization comes very close to that you need everybody. You need your friends close to you, and you need your enemies extremely close to you. And if the opposition is to say, why is the NDA realizing it now? Why is the opposition also realizing it now, that they should have had this unit which they've tried to get together in Bengaluru? They should have done this about a year ago. They didn't do that. The Bharat Jodo Yatra was probably an attempt by the Congress party, but there have been attempts by many of them. It's only now when Nitish got together, or Sharad Pawar, and now those have been sidelined. So, as we get closer to the election, you can turn around and say, ki pehle kyun nahi hua? That's a very easy way to go about it. But the point is, 64 parties today, in one way or the other, are part of these two units which have been formed. Maybe on the same day that the meetings were held, but the fact is that these have got together. But there are still 57 Lok Sabha seats which belong to parties which are not part of either of two.
Sure.
So those are up for grabs too. So a lot of action will happen, and there will be a reaching out to those parties also, like the YSRCP and the others.
Yeah. So let me ask from the JJP, Pratik Som is there with us. There are some big states which the BJP swept last time, or the BJP alliance swept the last time, which may not be as much of a cakewalk this time around. Maharashtra, we've already seen splits down the middle in the Shiv Sena, the NCP. I think the BJP had won 42 out of 48 last time around. Bihar, where the BJP won 38 out of 40. Now the JDU a principal player there, has joined hands with the RJD and the Congress. They are on the other side of the fence. Even in your state, like the state of Haryana, for example, where the BJP had swept all 10, even for a party like yours, they're saying because of the wrestler issue and others, it may not be as much of a cakewalk. So there are big chunks of seats which the BJP swept last time, where it may not find it that easy this time around.
See, I think your statement is correct, but it is also correct for the opposition. See, Zaka, why the opposition alliance will not take off is the root of the problem is that none of them is ready to do sacrifice of their political space. So if we do some, if we come to the statistics or some numbers, so a largest opposition party in Congress, will they get a mandate from Aam Aadmi Party that they will not contest Delhi, Punjab and Chandigarh? That comes to around 21 seats. Will they get a mandate from RJD and JDU that they'll give up their political space of 40 seats in Bihar? Will they ever get, mandate from Uddhav Thackeray, Shiv Sena and NCP to give up their political space of 48 seats? Neither will DMK give them 39 seats in Tamil Nadu. Neither will TMC give them 46 seats in West Bengal. These all seats, if we add up, will come closer to 200 seats. So I think the genesis of this opposition will ultimately, it is going to break and, it will not come to the reality.
No, but Pratik, no. One second. The opposite can happen. What if the Congress says in all these states that you just mentioned, we are happy to let the regional parties or the smaller parties there take the lead. We won't contest a majority of the seats in these states. Let the regional parties contest against BJP, and out of 200, if they win 100 plus, then so be it.
See, that is it. But Zaka, we have to understand that they have their Sangathan and organization in these states. There will be a lot of dissent in those leaders, and then they will move with their all followers and with all their ideologies to other parties like BJP or to the ruling camps. Zaka, this is very important to know that even these, the public statement of all the leaders in opposition. So if we recollect what Kejriwal said, that I will never do alliance with Congress in my life.
Okay.
But Nitish Kumar said, Zindagi ke andar main RJD se kabhi haath nahi milaunga. Now there are some statements coming on the dynasty point also. I think Salman has pointed this out. So I want to rebut on that point that coming at a dynasty point coming from Congress should not be spoken in the media at all. Also, opposition has camps of RJD where Yadavs are ruling. They have their DMK where Stalin is ruling. So Zaka, the mood, the root of all this is that opposition will never settle for a consensus, and that is how the NDA camp will take off.
Okay, so let me go back to Salman. Salman, even if the best case scenario, the alliance works on the ground, I just explained this on our magic wall a moment ago about how in the 2019 election, out of the 303 that the BJP won, 224 seats were won by a vote share of more than 50%, which means that even if there was an alliance on the other side, the BJP candidate would have still ended up winning because he or she won more than 50%, more than half of that constituency's votes. So how are you going to deal with that problem?
Okay, Zaka, very quickly, before I come to your question, and I will respond to that, I just want to point out that my friend Zafar Islam says that, Ajit Pawar, the Chakki piecing Ajit Pawar is now clean because Sharad Pawar didn't do anything. So Prime Minister Modi obviously cannot do anything. So he's gotten a clean chit because, Sharad Pawar didn't say anything to him. So Prime Minister Modi is basically dependent on clean chits from opposition leaders, and then he basically takes them and puts them in the BJP washing machine. And as far as Mr. Som is concerned, he talked about dynasty and other things. I think he should not say, he should not use the word dynasty because his own leader is the great-grandson of Chaudhry Devilal. So, he's from the Chautala family. So let's not talk about dynasty, Mr. Som. And as far as, Zaka, your question is concerned, let me give you a little bit of data that you might find interesting. First of all, 2024 is not going to be 2019. It's a totally different election. This whole narrative of doing these this is the arithmetic, they got 50% or above in so many seats. This is a whole different election. That narrative is old. Just a month back, CSDS Lokniti came out with a survey. And when asked about voting intentions, the Congress party's vote share in that survey, and CSDS is a non-partisan, survey firm. Congress party's vote share was close to 30% on its own without any alliance. I am telling you that India is going to put forward at least on 400 seats, there will be a single candidate from India competing against the BJP candidate. And
okay,
then
one
we will
second.
see
One second.
how
I want to press you there further. All right.
Yes.
Those 400. Please explain to me where those 400 are going to come from, because there are
Let
20.
me- let me
no,
give
one
you-
second. One second. Let me list out the states and the seats where you won't be able to put up a joint candidate. In Kerala, there are 20 seats. Clearly, you're not giving up 20 seats for the left. Neither is the left giving 20 seats up for you. In Bengal, there are 42 seats. Again, TMC is not giving up seats for you. Neither would you give up seats for the TMC. So that's 62 seats. You have, again, one second. With the Aam Aadmi Party, once again, 13 in Punjab, 7 in Delhi, that's 20 seats. So that's another 82 seats. So please tell me, where are you going to find these 400 seats where you can find one single candidate?
Zaka, I think your assumption is totally wrong. This is the problem with this narrative that what happened in the past is going to happen in the future. It is not, Zaka. Whether it is Kerala, whether it is Bengal, whether it is Maharashtra, whether it is Punjab, Delhi, whatever, we are going to do everything we can to put up single candidates. That's the whole idea behind this alliance. So if you're thinking, if anybody else is thinking, if the Prime Minister is thinking, if the BJP is thinking that it's going to be the same fractious, political parties coming up against them, they are mistaken. There are going to be single candidates of India against the BJP, and we will prevail.
Okay, let me ask Syed Zafar Islam. Look, again, I don't know how they can find 400 constituencies with one single candidate against the BJP candidate. But if that were to be the case, then you will see a coalescing of, it's going to be a bipolar contest. It's going to be a straight up choice A versus choice B. There can the BJP take on the combined might of the opposition just in arithmetic terms?
Well, if that is the situation arise, then voters, we have confidence. We draw confidence from the voters, from the people of this country, that when they will vote, they will choose NDA and they will give us 60, 70, 80% vote. Because in 2019, same situation was there. They were continuously speaking that 2014 was different, 2019 is different. We improved our numbers. In 2024, it is likely to be further improved. And why I am saying this? Because the last 9 years, what we have done to improve the condition of an ordinary man on the street, if you ask them, then they will say, yes,
No,
this
Zafar,
government has done so many things,
you're a
so many welfare
banker
schemes have been
by
introduced.
profession. So please explain to me with numbers, where is the BJP going to grow its numbers? You have maxed out wherever you won in 2014 and in 19, whether it's Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, UP, of course. Where are the what are your catchment areas? Where are you going to gain in newer areas more than what you did in 2019?
See, there are two strategies. One is to, of course, retain wherever we had hit the highest seats, maximum number of seats available, like Rajasthan or Gujarat or some other states. But the states where we have not done well, like for instance, southern part of the country, where, and if you can see the number of alliance partners we have today, we never had that kind of number of alliance partner from the southern part of the country. So we have stitched a very meticulously alliance to improve our tally in the states where we had absolutely no presence. And you will see the outcome in 2024 that whatever today we are talking, where some people are saying that we don't know them. Yes, you may not be knowing them because there are smaller parties, but together the smaller parties bring a lot of strength on the table, and that is what we will capitalize. We will be capitalizing on their strength and our strength put together. We will win many more seats in southern part of the country.
So I'll go to Bishwajit Deb and then to Smita.
Even where there is a bipolar contest.
Zafar, please. Bishwajit Deb, again, I am coming back to that whole point. Where can the opposition find 400 seats where it has one candidate? Let's take the state of Bengal itself. Out of 42, By that logic, you will give Congress only 2. The rest of the 40 seats, TMC will have to contest. Otherwise, how will you find 400 seats across the country?
What will happen? What will happen in 2024? That's a question of some time to be decided. Don't worry about that. Don't think that the alliance will not work. The alliance will work, and it will work perfectly to the extent that it will ensure that this government is removed by the people's mandate in India. And it will be done. The reason
Mr.
is,
Deb, you are still not answering the question I'm asking you. Please explain, convince the voters of India, the viewers who are watching this program, how will this alliance work on the ground? In Bengal, are you going to contest 40 seats and give Congress and left only 2 seats?
By the rule of BJP.
Sir, on ground, please explain the modalities of how this will work on the ground. In Bengal, will you end up fighting 40 seats and give Congress and left only 2 seats?
What will be the seat share? What will happen? That I cannot say now. That Mamata Banerjee knows very well how to handle the situation and how to settle it. That is a matter which should be left to Mamata Banerjee to decide what will be the fate of the 42 seats in Bengal. But don't worry about this. BJP should now try to think that how to manage the entire NDA, that they can even go up to 200 out of the
Pratik Som, want to make a quick point, and then Smita Prakash after that. Pratik Som,
it will be very difficult.
Yeah,
it will
I
be
heard
very
you, Mr.
difficult for them
Please yield.
cross 200
Please yield.
also.
Now, Pratik Som.
Yes. Zaka, so Salman said that Dushyant Chautala is a dynast. Let me, remind him that in 2018, 11 months before elections, he was expelled from his party. He had guts to form his own party, get a mandate of 17% votes in his state, form a political coalition and rule a 4-year the state for 4 years without any scam for which Congress is known. A dynast is someone like Mr. Rahul Gandhi, that he has got a political lineage from his, from the party which they are ruling. Dushyant Chautala had this guts to form political party 10 months before elections. How many people of your camp has this kind of guts? Akhilesh Yadav had this option. Did he exercise that? He wanted a comfortable and safe lineage of Samajwadi Party.
Let me go to Smita. Let me go. Even in 2019, especially in UP, more so in UP, there was this whole thing. I mean, the SP and the BSP and the RLD fought together, and they said, yeah, Mahagathbandhan simply by arithmetic will blow away the BJP. What we saw, Smita, was wherever there was a BSP candidate, the SP vote transferred to the BSP candidate in more numbers than whenever there was an SP candidate and the BSP vote did not transfer to the SP candidate. So, as a result of which, I think BSP won 10 MPs and SP had only 5. So, even in 2019, where there was supposed to be this big Gathbandhan, this whole transfer of votes from one party to another, to a common alliance candidate, that's never as smooth. That's never as, as easy as people think it is. It's not certain at all that, let's say in Maharashtra, if there's an Uddhav Thackeray Sena candidate, that the Sharad Pawar NCP voter will also vote for that candidate and the Maharashtra Congress voter will also vote for that candidate. It's not a given at all.
No, it's not. You're right. And also, I think the dwindling vote share of the BSP is steadily in all the elections, which we have seen, that itself should be a matter of concern for Mayawati. And I think it's going to muddy the waters as far as people who, who predict what's going to happen in Uttar Pradesh. As far as, a couple of points which I wanted to make about the BJP thinking that the numbers are going to come in from the south. I don't know. I mean, most people would think that it is UP, Bihar, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and West Bengal. These are the states which are going to determine the next election. That's what most analysts are saying. I don't think it's going to be the south states which are going to bring in the numbers for the BJP. But then the BJP does
just very
its own
quickly, those states
so
that you mentioned, just quickly, let's say UP, Bihar, Maharashtra. These are the 3 big states that you mentioned, right? Let's say in UP they were able to retain a bulk of what they won. They won 61 out of 80 last time. They're able to retain.
No, it's not. It's not retaining. They're expected to
Okay.
to do
Even if they do
their
better.
performance.
But what
than,
about
last time.
Bihar and Maharashtra? Because alliances have shifted there in a very big way between 2019 and now.
Correct. Bihar is up for grabs. I think the entire, you can't even bring in the 2019 arithmetic onto this election in 2024 because those Gathbandhans don't exist anymore because, the Nitish has, whatever is happening with Nitish, the analysts are saying that he's वो कह रहे हैं कि वहां पे उनका वजूद ही कम हो गया. That is what the Bihari analysts are saying. The newspapers, local newspapers are saying that his vote share is going to drop tremendously. But then who knows, right? This is still early days right now. As far as Maharashtra is concerned, you tell me what has happened with NCP. It's again, the entire Mahavikas Aghadi has crumbled completely with Ajit Pawar moving that side. I mean, Sharad Pawar was the fulcrum of this, right? Nitish was only getting together and hosting the event in Patna, but it was Sharad Pawar who got the warring factions.
Yeah.
And you saw in Bengaluru, he was sidelined. He was not really playing a major role. It was totally Mamta's and Rahul Gandhi and the others who were calling the shots, Kharge and the others. So the entire ability to get these warring factions together, to get their egos together, to come up, and arithmetic is important. Whatever Mr. Soos might say, arithmetic is important and chemistry is important. And so when Mr. Dev says, don't worry, I think they should realize that when the media questions, it doesn't come from a sense of worry. It just comes from a sense of asking the right questions, which you've been doing, is that where are the numbers going to come from? So even if you see that 2019 is not a format to go by, or 2014 is not a format to go by, let's go by what's happening in 2023. In 2023 itself, it seems right now that the numbers are not 400 seats getting together. None of the leaders have said anything about the numbers right now. They have to get a common minimum program going before they can decide on the seats. They have to decide on what is going to be. Just to say democracy is dead or dying is not going to click with voters. They need to come up with a program. Unless there's a common minimum program and unless voters know what are you going to give us. Amorphic terms are like things like, constitution, judiciary, media. Common man doesn't care about these big things. They are like, how much are you bringing?
I agree.
What are you bringing to my table?
Okay, I think the alliance, the India alliance, needs more than just this idea of removing one man or removing one party from power. They need to offer an alternative which is compelling to the voters of India. And if the voters of India buy that, that is what will bring them into power, not just, arithmetic or the ability to find 400 candidates candidates in 400 constituencies who are joint opposition candidates, which in itself would be a tall order. But we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. It's going to be a fascinating 1 year to go. In fact, less than a year to go for the big battle for 2024, and the die seems to be cast. It is going to be alliance versus alliance, both from the NDA and the newly formed India alliance. Meanwhile, shifting focus to what else has been happening, there was pandemonium today in the Karnataka Assembly. BJP MLAs launched protests over the deployment of IAS officers to receive leaders for the opposition meeting that happened Monday and Tuesday in Bengaluru. 10 BJP MLAs were suspended for creating ruckus inside the assembly, and that sparked an all-out fight. While shouting slogans against the Congress government, opposition MLAs threw papers at the Deputy Speaker. They stormed into the well of the House. Protesting MLAs were carried out of the assembly. Some of them even fainted. But what was interesting in the middle of all of this is that the BJP and the JDS put up a united front, and that has also sparked some political buzz. The assembly session ends Friday, but the BJP has threatened that they will be boycotting the rest of the assembly session, calling the Congress government a Taliban style of government.
Actually good for the constitutional, our what rights is their MLAs. This is not the bad incident took place in Karnataka Assembly.
Never in the Vidhana Soudha this thing arrested. Never the marshals have manhandled the MLAs, elected representatives. It's an inhuman government. We have got Taliban government.
They are frustrated a lot. They are not able to accept the fact that we lost the elections and we are able to implement all the guarantees with huge success.
Narendra Rangappa is spokesperson of the Karnataka BJP, Aishwarya Mahadev, spokesperson of the Congress party. Aishwarya, everywhere in the country you're going around saying save democracy, save constitution. What was democratic about the way in which BJP MLAs were today thrown out of the assembly for just protesting?
Good evening, Zaka. I'm on prime time. I would have really wished that this debate would have been about a northeastern state and what has happened, but I will engage on what is happening now. When Mr. Bomai talks about a Taliban-like government, I would like to draw his attention to the fact that there is a decorum, there is a dignity of the House, and in the history of the Karnataka Legislative Assembly, an action such as this, where you basically in an undignified manner throw paper, rip up paper and throw it at the speaker, is something that has happened. It is unprecedented, and not only being suspended, they should also be booked for the sort of action that they've taken against Mr. Lamani, who's the deputy speaker in this case. Ruckus is not part of the right to protest, and the ones
but
who
Aishwarya,
talk
this
about
is the exact same
government
thing that opposition MPs do in parliament, tear up papers and throw at the speaker. They do it all the time.
And has the parliament not taken appropriate action against them? Have they or have they not? To the extent that Fulo Devi Netam had her arm broken by marshals who barged in during a critical vote, and everybody remembers. There was excessive force also used. But when the shoe is off, obviously on the other foot, the BJP has a lot to talk about. The BJP is frustrated. The JDS is excessively frustrated. And because we're implementing our guarantees, because we're going along with our work, they continue to try and stall progress and also business in the House, which is very unbecoming, to the extent that the MLAs being carried out are laughing about it.
Mr. Rangappa, at the end of the day, I mean, you can't be tearing up papers and throwing it at the speaker. That is disrespect to the chair. Forget about the individual there.
See, let me start by saying this is a draconian, undemocratic and stifling the voice of democracy by the bullish Congress party. Because when the debate started regarding the clarification of IAS officers attending a political functions, which is not governmental. So when we questioned the government about this, they refused to give an answer. S.K. Patil gave a very vague answer on the floor of the House. The Chief Minister presents out and he was specious and politically convenient for him to say that you have done it and I have done it and it is my perspective. Is it not dictatorial? Is it
but you don't throw papers at the speaker. You don't throw papers at the speaker, sir.
They should be ashamed of themselves.
Sir, you don't throw papers at the speaker for that.
We were instigated by the undemocratic, draconian behavior of the leader of the House, the ministers, the members, and to a certain extent the chair also. Why didn't he give a fair chance for us to do a debate? Why didn't he allow us for discussion?
Okay. Aishwarya Mahadev, there's a legitimate question being asked as to why IAS and IPS... Once again. Aishwarya Mahadev, why were IAS and IPS officers being deployed for a party function or for the function of political parties and not for governmental work? That's a legitimate question to ask.
Zaka, there's a saying in Kannada saying Madakagdidon Mai Parchkonda, and this is the sort of frustration of the BJP. A very clear clarification has been put out that that the IAS officers, as this protocol, not in violation of the service, basically were deployed to receive the dignitaries who have held cabinet rank, who come under the protocol, who are under Z category security or have been chief ministers of states or cabinet minister ranks, because of which the officers only went to the airport to receive them. I was also at the event in an official capacity and there were no officers there. They were guests of the state at the behest of the chief minister. The chief minister basically said they did not attend the event, but official protocol of travel, which is from one state to another that applies, was what applied here, and that there is no violation.
Aishwarya, they've come there for a political party event. They've not come there for inaugurating a government project or, they've not come there for an investment summit.
One second. Mamata Banerjee is a chief minister of a state, but also part of a political party. Yes. When she came in here, however, official travel protocol that applied to her was for her being a head of a state. And that is the one at the behest of the chief minister of the state. And you can have it clarified. Let me ask them, right? The people that talk about protecting IAS officers, you had a minister of yours insult an IAS officer so much the IAS Officers Association condemned you and asked you to take action against your own BJP lawmakers. The JDS, which also talks so much, Mr. Kumaraswamy, who's frustrated for obviously the stifling loss of what would have been a kingmaker, basically talks about what? When Danish Ali, who was nothing but a member of parliament, and basically came to Karnataka, he had an exclusive IAS officer deputed to him. Was that legal? Do you want to talk about when he was sworn in as chief minister?
Mr. Rangappa, in all of this, one thing that has come to the fore is now JDS and BJP seem to be one. Mr. Kumaraswamy is sitting there right next to Mr. Ashok and Mr. Bommai protesting because none of his MLAs were thrown out.
See, our Congress spokesperson is terming this as frustration. It is the vice versa. The Congress has stuck itself in such a deep muddle by giving false guarantees and promises. They are trying to wriggle out and trying to divert the attention by doing such things. Number one. Number two, by brazening out and being specious.
No, answer my question. My question was on Kumaraswamy and JDS being in cahoots with BJP. Please answer that question.
JDS and BJP have never gone into any sort of an agreement. Let me be very clear in this fact. But by looking at the behavior of the Congress, by looking at the draconian attitude of the Congress, even the opposition parties were forced to work against the Congress.
Okay.
This is actually what has happened.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Narendra Rangappa and Aishwarya Mahadev, we'll see how this story plays out. Like I said, the assembly session concludes Friday, but the BJP is saying that they're going to boycott the rest of the session. They're also going to be meeting the governor tomorrow and making a representation before him. We'll see how that plays out. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll catch you again tomorrow night.
Casinos make a lot of money for some states. They are taxed at a certain rate. Why not these online games too? It's been made to sound that this will be the death knell of the online gaming industry. It will also lead to a lot of job losses.
Point is that elections are happening, like you said, in every state. Why is this bloodshed only in Bengal? And you cannot say Trinamool Congress condemns it and we are sorry and I feel very bad. No, sir. Law and order is your responsibility. You failed.
The law has to operate by what is the prevailing situation on the ground. The law works for the people, not the other way around. So if the prevailing situation on the ground is that of peace, that necessarily has to have a bearing on the law.
And they were put in the Bengaluru Central Jail, where they came in touch with the person identified as T. Nazir, again, as said, accused of the terror module. So right after that, this whole plan of theirs started and had reached to a next level that police identified at right time and have actually arrested them from the different locations of Bengaluru. But as said, all that details will be out in some time now.
Also, Ritu, another important question that arises is that how were they in touch with T. Nazir, who is lodged in the Bengaluru Central Jail?
Well, what police is also saying is that because when in 2017, when all these suspected terrorists are now who've been arrested by the CCB were also put in the same jail where they came in contact with the T. Nazir. Now, that's the reason, as we are speaking about it, we need to see what police will be able to tell us that how exactly they came in touch with, how constantly they used to meet inside the jail as well, what were the kind of in fact, steps that were actually taken inside the jail to ensure that such accused actually don't get in touch with the other case accused as well, because that is again important point, and where they might land in a fault as well, because the police, or that for that matter the prison department, the cops there again. So that needs to be seen of how actually they were getting in touch, and right after when they were also out, how they still continue to be in touch as well, how they used to get to talk to each other, the kind of information, whether there were other means of communication as well. So all that is actually going to be an interesting part of this particular case. But however, as such, you see, what will be more important also to understand is that who else were involved in this particular case, because in 2017, along with these 5 accused, there were others also who were actually mentioned in that particular murder case, and who were also put, there were a few others who were also put in the jail, whether they were also in touch with these suspected terrorists as well. So yes, all that is now going to be revealed by the Bengaluru police from some time now.
All right, Ritu, thank you so much for giving us all those details. We'll keep coming back to you for more updates on this story. Now, shifting focus, a major terror attack has been averted in Bengaluru after an ISIS gang was busted in Karnataka. 5 suspects of a possible terror module were arrested yesterday in Bengaluru from various locations. 4 walkie-talkies, 7 pistols, ammunition and other incriminating materials were found. The suspects, during questioning, also disclosed that they were in touch with T. Nazir, who is a terror accused presently lodged in Bengaluru Central Jail. And according to top intel sources, this module was run by a person, Junaid, from Baku. Now, Junaid was in touch with ISI and sent explosives to these boys, possibly from Gujarat border or Punjab border. So we're getting you this exclusive information and a big piece of news that a major terror attack has been averted in Karnataka's Bengaluru after an ISIS gang was busted. Now, 5 suspects of a possible terror module were arrested yesterday in Bengaluru from various locations. Now, what all has been recovered? 4 walkie-talkies, 7 pistols, ammunition and other incriminating materials have been recovered. CNN News 18's Ritu is joining us to tell us more about it. Ritu, can you give us more details about this terror gang, this ISIS gang that has been busted in Karnataka?
So yes, CCB police here in Bengaluru have arrested 5 suspected terrorists yesterday, and in fact what we are given to understand is that during the interrogation, and the accused have in fact also told the police that they were in touch with the person identified as T. Nazir, in fact, who is accused in the terror module. So they came in touch with him and they were constantly in contact with him as well. So that's where, this whole, in fact, the plan there started. And what we are also given to understand is that it was led by the person identified as Junaid. So he was leading the team, in fact, that we can really say at this point in time. So he was there helping out the other boys with the ammunitions and the other equipments or the explosive materials as well for their sinister plan. But needs to be seen now during the press conference when the Bengaluru Police Commissioner will be addressing the media. What more details have that the police been able to assimilate so far? That all will be put out as well. But yes, this is a major development that has taken place. Also remember what exactly happened in the ISIS module case in the Shimoga district as well. There the whole sinister plan was again been busted by the police, and we did see, however, that case right now is with the NIA. The NIA is investigating, but yes, constantly that such incidents are actually often occurring from the state of Karnataka. Now the police is on foot to ensure that they get to burst such in fact modules at the earliest, and any such acts would really not be tolerated. So that's the reason we're getting to see the CCB police getting into an action at the right time when they got to know that the kind of plan that they were actually making. So police now trying to interrogate that where exactly they used to together meet and what kind of talks that they used to exchange as well, who others were also involved in it, because with the kind of seizure now being done with walkie-talkies and other materials being seized as well, police trying to understand that whom else they were in touch with, whether there was someone who was were in touch with outside the India as well, because we did see such things happening in the Shimoga module case as ISIS module case as well. So here police also trying to understand all those angles. Also another point needs to be seen of what age all these accused are, in fact, because in 2017 all these accused
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. Tonight, we start with Russia's war. And this is a question that has been raised many times over the last 17 months. Will the war spill over? This time, the question is being triggered by Russia's own